In this video, I'm going to show you how to automatically publish and save Webflow form submissions as CMS items. Right here, I have a Webflow project with a list of testimonials on the page. And this list of testimonials is connected to the CMS, to this testimonials CMS collection. And down here, I also have a testimonials form where users can create and submit new testimonials. And what I want to happen is that whenever someone submits this form right here, that in the background, a new CMS item automatically gets created inside of this testimonials collection. And because this list right here is connected to that testimonial collection, whenever someone submits this form, the new testimonial should automatically show up here on the live website. So that's the automation we're going to build today. Before we start building the automation, however, we have to make sure that inside of our form, all of the form fields have a proper field name. So for example, if I click on this company field and go to the field settings, you can see inside of the text field settings, the name is set to company. And this is a good and descriptive name. You should not use something generic like field 1 or field 2, because later we will need this name to set up the automation. The same holds true for this name of the form inside of the form settings. My form is called testimonial form, which is a good and descriptive name. To build the automation, we are going to use an automation tool called Make. If you don't have a Make account yet, you can just go to the Make website and sign up for a free account. I will also put a link down into the video description. Once you've signed up for a Make account or once you've logged into your Make account, what you have to do is up here at the top right, you click on Create a New Scenario. And that leads us to the automation editor. To create the trigger for the automation, we can just click this purple plus icon and then search for Webflow. There it is. And what we want to do here is we want to watch for events. So we have to select this Webhook Watch Events module right here. Because we want to run this automation whenever an event occurs. In our case, that is a form submission event. So I select this. Then you have to create a new webhook. So you click on Add right here, give it a name. By the way, a webhook is basically just a different way of saying that we are listening to an event. And whenever that event occurs, in our case, the form submission, we want to do something. So a webhook is basically just some type of trigger. And I call it form submission events. Next, we have to choose a connection. If you have never worked with Make before, you have to create a completely new connection. You can do that by clicking on this add icon. And then you have to choose a connection name. The name itself is not that important. Just make sure it is something descriptive that you can remember, and then you click on Save. And then this connection window will open up. This connection window, basically, with that you can authorize Make and give it access to individual websites so that it can run the automations. You have a list of all your workspaces that you're part of, and then you can either give access to an entire workspace, or like I'm about to do, I'm just going to give it access to one website, and I'm going to give it access to this one, which I created for the tutorial. And then click on Authorize App. Then we have to choose a website from the dropdown. In my case, there's only one now. And then you have to choose a trigger. So right here, you have a lot of different trigger options. Each of these can start an automation. In our case, we want to start or run the automation whenever a form submission event occurs. So I select that and click on Save. And then I click on OK. And now our automation trigger is completely set up and configured. The next thing that we have to do is we have to show Make what the structure of our form data looks like. See, the problem right now is, yes, we have this form on the website, but Make does not know that this form exists. And Make also does not know that this form has a full name field, a company field, a review field, and a profile picture URL field. Make just isn't aware of that. So we have to show it to Make. and we can show it by making a test submission. To do that, we go back to the automation editor and click on this play icon to run the automation once. And now you can already see there's this loading animation. This means Make is now listening for the test submission. So let's actually go and do the test submission. I'm going to type in the name Tom Testman, the test incorporated. For the review, I will just type in some dummy text. And for the picture URL, I will choose a random image URL and click on I accept the terms and submit the testimonial. Let's go back to Make. And you can already see that the test submission was executed, because down here in the log, it says the scenario run was completed. Also, the loading animation is no longer showing. And up here, we can see the number 1 inside of the speech bubble. And if we hover over it and click on the magnifier icon, you can see the entire automation flow. And there's also a field called data, so you can click on this plus, and then it expands and we can see all of the form data and the associated fields. So here's full name, company, review, picture URL. And now with that test submission, we have shown Make what the structure of our form data looks like, and we can use it to complete the setup of the automation. So let's do that. Close this window and click on this plus icon right here. Choose Webflow as the module again. This time we want to create a new item. So that's going to be our action of the automation. When the automation is triggered, we have to choose a connection again. Make sure you choose the same connection that you chose in the first step in the trigger module. Then a site ID or a website. I'm going to choose this tutorial site again. And a collection. I only have one collection, the one that I showed you in the beginning, the testimonials collection. And now we can start filling out the data, the fields for the new testimonial CMS item that should be created here. If you click inside any of these fields, you will see this window, and Make gives you access to all of these different variables from the previous steps. We also have access to the data variables down here. So the full name, the company, the review, the picture URL. And these data variables, they are only accessible to us right now. We can only see them because we made that very important test submissions a few moments ago. So let's start filling out these fields. So for the URL, I choose the picture URL variable. For the company name, I choose the company variable. For the content, I choose the review as the content of the testimonial. And for the full name, I will choose the full name variable. The last field is the so-called slug. This is basically a link to this individual collection items page. In this case, it is not really that important, so I'm going to leave it blank. Whenever you leave it blank, it will be automatically generated. However, you can also set this up manually by using these variables from the window. Down here, we have some more important settings. Here you can basically decide if the new CMS item should be immediately published to the live website. So if you set this to live right here, whenever this automation runs, a new CMS item will be created and will automatically be visible on the live website so that everyone can see it. So just keep that in mind. If, for example, in our case, someone were to submit a bad testimonial, if you set the live setting to yes, the bad testimonial would immediately be visible on the website to everyone. So just keep that in mind. If you don't want that, you can set the live to no and the draft to yes. And then the CMS items will be created as a draft and you can review them manually before you want to publish them. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to push it straight to the live site. So I set the draft to no, live to yes, and click OK. There's one last thing that we have to do now, and that is we have to set up a filter. See, the problem at the moment is this automation will run whenever a form is submitted on the entire website. So if there is a different form, like a contact form or a sign-up form, and someone fills out that different form, then this automation will also run. but that's not what I want. What I want is that the automation only runs when the testimonial form is submitted. So we have to set up a filter for that by clicking this tool icon, set up a new filter, and then give it a name. In my case, I'm just going to call it filter testimonial form. The condition is that we want the testimonial name. See, we have access to the form name variable here. I want the form name to be testimonial form. Testimonial form, because this name right here is exactly the same name that I configured for this form inside of the form settings. Then click OK to set up the filter. And now we can set the automation live. So I'm going to turn on this switch so that the automation runs and listens for incoming events, and also save the automation down here. Okay, I think it's time to make the first, to create the first testimonial with our form. So I'm going to fill out my name right here. My name is Mike Pecha. My company is Mike's Company. For the review, I'm just going to put some dummy text again. And for the profile picture, I'm going to use the link to my Twitter profile picture. I accept the terms, submit testimonial. And now the magic has already happened in the background. And to show it to you, I will reload the page. And you can see the new testimonial that we just submitted is automatically visible on the live website. How cool is that? Okay, and if you want to learn even more about automations with Webflow and Make, then I can recommend you to check out this playlist here on YouTube that I've created for that topic. And if you want to learn more about Webflow forms in general, I have a playlist here on YouTube about Webflow forms as well, so definitely check that out. My name is Mike. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.